welcome. And in today's episode, I want to start off by let's talk about what I've been up to since the last episode. Not much has changed around here yet. Some of the digging underground is expanded. Nothing crazy. I've just making some more space. I think I'm going to put a super smelter in down here. But first thing I'd have to do before that is get a proper fuel source. But I've just expanded a little bit. I'm probably going to put a smelter in down here somewhere. And then I've expanded down here a little bit just to open up the diamond mining. And I put in some nether wart so that in case I decide to build with like the nether bricks, I'd have a source of it. And maybe do some push breed. So I'll probably expand it so I don't usually automate this. I prefer just to manually farm it. So I'll probably expand it out, on either side. And then I've got these tunnels for branch mining. And I have done very little branch mining. I've got 2 tunnels started. But let's split back to the shopping district and we'll talk there. And actually, I just thought, before we get to the shopping district, I wanted to say that my tunnel is completely dug and made now. Again, this is first pass. I'm still planning on doing some decorations, I think. However, these decorations were dependent upon what I was going to do as my main base. And I think that has changed. But let's get over to the shopping district and I'll show you some things I've done. So I've expanded on the entrance to this tunnel, whereas I was selling skulk on one side, right now on the other side I have set up a little free station. So some of the farms I've got and made, oh, somebody else has been here too. I have some leftover products, so I just put free stuff on this side. So it's like rotten flesh from my gold farm, spare nether rack, some ender pearls and some endstone, and some raw cod. Things I don't ever plan on using that somebody else might find useful, so they can just have it. And on this side, I think I'm going to start putting shulkers of things for, like, say, for 3 diamonds. So like an entire shulker of stone or bulk things I have extra of, that if somebody doesn't have enough time to go mine, then they would have a source of it, and stuff that I don't mind parting with. So yeah, I think it'll be free on this side and then like really dirt cheap stuff on this side. So kind of a reason for people to come over and see. So let's go and talk about my plans for a base. So I kind of talked about in the last episode, which was kind of a long-term plan, was to mimic or copy the Stormlight Archive series of books that I've been reading. And the more and more I think about it, that's going to be a very involved process. I don't think I have the structure or the resources in place yet to be able to make it the way that I think I want to make it, if that makes sense. So like, I don't have a source of bones, or I don't have a tree farm. I don't have so much of the things I would want as resources to make it. So I think I'm going to switch up and go to my original plan, which is going to be something much, much larger, but simpler to make. The other thing about the Stormlight Archive series would be that I don't really know if I have the skills to make what I was thinking in my head. For example, like the Tower of Irithiru was supposed to be like a very organic shaped structure, curves and walls. I don't know that I've got the technical ability to make a structure like that in my head. It's maybe something I can work on in creative, and maybe for the next season it would be something to work on. And that is the other point, is for me to make something that large and that takes that much time, I'm not sure, like I've started this world behind everybody, like for 4 months or 5 months behind everybody else. I don't know how much longer this real season is going to last. It might be a month or two, but if it's going to take me a year or two to make what I had in my head, then maybe it's not worth it. So I'm going to switch over to something else, and it's probably going to require me to buy all the white concrete that's for sale here. 2 diamonds per stack. Oh yeah, I can buy way more than that. I might have to contact Stoic to see if he's got more stock in the employee only area that I can buy from him. I think I'm going to need like a dramatic amount of this, because the structure I have in mind is going to be very, 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 very big. But let's cut to, let's say it's been a week and a half or 2 weeks since my last episode. I have been on and doing some things. I'm going to show you that I have started a boat race. So let's cut to there. Yeah, okay, so let's talk boat race, and I'll explain why. So, there randomly one night I was out with some Eyes of Ender, just looking for an end, because I figured, hey, maybe I'll find one that's closer to my base in case I ever want to go there. Anyways, long story short is I didn't find an end island anywhere near me, but I did come across a really large area of ice. I mean, this ice biome is thousands and thousands of blocks long. So I thought to myself, well, that seems as like a simple place to put a boat race. So I bought a whole bunch of wool and started the process. It's a convoluted path here right now, because a path to get here from my tunnel crosses over top of a Stoic's tunnel. So I just kind of branched off of here for now. So it's at minus 314, minus 263, and positive 375 in another. My base is that way, and Stoic's is kind of this way in the nether. And so I've laid out the start of a course. I still need to come back through with some lighting, and I want to make like a redstone on and off switch. But here's basically, I was flying by and there's all this ice. So I just laid out a little track here. I'm not going to put you through watching me do it, but there'll be a little path down through here. Oh crap, there's a server restart. Maybe this will be good. Anyway, so I made up this little course here. I still have to come through, I said, and put some lights and a starter on it. And my thought is that players will have like a fishing rod to help them either start or stop other players, or to maybe help latch on to and get around corners. The other thing I've hidden in certain spots is this is all normal ice, and I've hidden in little patches of the better ices, kind of like this one would be to throw you off course, and then maybe this one is blue ice to super speed you back into getting up to full speed on this straightaway. And so the start stop should be right around here somewhere. I'm gonna put I'm thinking about like 3 lights, so 1, 2, 3. You'll flick a lever to start. Repeater will turn 1 light on, then the delay will turn a second and a third, and then the 4th delay will maybe retract sticky pistons through here to let the race begin. So somebody who starts it can like start it, get into the boat, and then start the race with everybody else, and it'll just be like a mass start. The other thing that's I didn't think about in this area is with all these polar bears, if there's a baby polar bear, they aggro you. And if you've got just a normal boat, they'll hop in the boat with you. So maybe this boat race will have to have chest boats, I think, to get around. So yeah, we'll cut out here for the server restart, and I'll re-meet back over actually at my industrial area to show you one more farm I've been working on. A quick little detour while the server was resetting. I came back onto my creative world here to show you kind of what I had for an idea for lights for the race. Would be to have it based off of skulk sensors. And just have it hanging. And that way when you travel over, no, it'll follow the player. The only thing I don't know about doing it down here is that if in an ice biome it'll actually melt the ice or not. Because in a normal setting it does, the lights will melt the ice. So I want to do this for sure. I've got the skulks. I have to find some glowstone on the server. Ztech's offered to sell me some, but I want to go try to find. I also in the Nether want to find a near fortress. I want to try to make a wither skeleton farm for so when I make a super smelter, I can get the coal, and then so that I can have the source of bone meal to grow my own tree supply and make dyes and stuff with that effect. So yeah, I think a fortress will work good for me. I'm kind of liking this design where it's hanging from chains. I'll have to redo this tower kind of bland. But yeah, I think having some lights like that throughout the course will help draw you through it. But this was going to be my... I decided on some color palettes for the builds I was going to make for the Stormlight series. This was going to be my tower kind of block palette, but I couldn't figure out how to make it. Like, I still might, like maybe next season, but it's just I'll have to like draw the whole thing in creative or on paper first. This was going to be my military styled medieval town. I think it was Colinar, where the main leader's home was from. And I kind of like this idea of like blackstone and deep slate with the the tonal. I kind of drawn towards that. And then having the accent being like red, and then these tones I thought was really good. And then this was going to be my final city. And I can't remember the name of it right now. Is where Lift went to chase after pancakes with the town with the big library. Anyways, the idea was that it'd be mostly like a cheap sandstone structures, almost like a desert city, but in this style of like a maritime. My local maritimes would be like a seaport city where all the houses are vibrant, bright colors. I was going to make them of each of the tree types. So yeah, it'd be like walls. City walls would be like sandstone, and then the buildings will all be, the poorer side of this would all be this, and then maybe like a big library in the back. So anyway, that was it. So that being said, this is going to be the palette that I use for my new build. It's going to be a very modern type of build. I'm going to use like white concrete for the base of it, and then it'll be accents of anywhere I need like a shape other than a box will be like deep slate and blackstone, and then some pop of color will be like red. So I might trade for some brick. I'm not going to use very much. I love this wood, but man alive, the new tree type is such a pain to harvest in quantities. And I'm going to be making something that goes basically to build limit. The floor on my island is at about 70, and it's going to be 225 tall from there. So it's going to be pushing that. But let's get back onto the server and take a look there at the Guardian Farm. So the server's back up and running. So we're back here at my industrial area. And it's just a simple, well, simple if you follow the tutorial by Sir Stoic Epoch. I made a guardian farm as the was right over here anyways. Um, I'm just doing this to get lights because I'm going to be using the sea lanterns basically buried underneath the blocks. So it's not about getting the sea lanterns, it's just about getting a light source. And I didn't really feel like spending diamonds to get it, if that makes any sense. There's still, I don't really have any storage on here yet. So yeah, I can just run this for a couple minutes to get some sea lanterns. And then what I'm doing with the leftovers, so anytime you make a farm like this, it makes a ton of cod, and it makes a ton of prismarine shards, and very few of the things that you actually need to make lights. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to collect up these spare prismarine shards and donate them to Stoic and Lady Edith for their shop. Because I'm not looking to sell prismarine. I'm not actually looking to build with it either. I just need the sea lanterns. The other thing I've noticed here versus on the, like I've made the same exact farm on my realm, is that they get stuck just outside of render distance, like halfway up the tube a lot. And of course, now that I come here to show you, they're not there. But it's just, there's a trident killer down here to mush them all up. And then they come up the glass tubes. But yeah, no, they've been rendering and getting, yeah, like down there, you see they all get stuck. So the rates on this have been very slow compared to what I'm used to. And I don't know if it's a server issue or if that's just a visual thing. I don't know. Anyway, it's not that big of a deal. They still get mushed. And I guess I'm missing two pieces. I was probably had a lightning strike or something. I don't know why I'm missing. Anyway, they're gonna get mad at me here in a second. So yeah, that's the other big change I've made on the server since last time, is I've finalized that. What I've got to do now is, there wasn't quite enough white concrete there for me to get started on my base. So I think I'll just manually make a bunch. And I actually have to run this farm again. And that was the other thing. I made this farm to do the tunnel. And now the tunnel's made and the shop's filled. I really have no other use for this skull farm. So what I'm going to do is use this in my base. So what I'm going to do in my base is make a double-sided, or an upside down, or a two-sided pyramid, basically. An upside down pyramid enclosed area lined with this skulk. And then inside of it, I'm going to have floating islands. This was just a strange idea in my head for a while. And so this will make it look like the void. And so my idea is to make some end islands and have free roaming villagers. And I've heard that maybe I'll be able to do something cool to the villagers here coming up. So I need to run this farm, I need to make some more skulk, and I need to make some concrete. And hopefully if I can just get a couple stacks, I can show you roughly what I'm talking about. So we're back here on the Mushroom Island, and I'm going to start building my base. So the idea is going to be, going to start it with concrete and skulk. It's going to be 125, 100 and build height. I think level 80 is going to be the first. Yeah. So where you want to go 25 in each direction. So I want to go 13 from here. So this is going to be the template of the the base. Oh, this is going to be big, good. Yeah, so my idea is to make something large that I can kind of make in bulk. Um, so there's not going to be a dramatic amount of detail, at least in my mind yet, or block variation in it. But it is going to take a lot of white concrete that I'll have to convert. So I'm going to buy as much as I can from Stoic or from the Baron, but it might need to be, I'm going to have to create some by hand as well. And then for like the top half of the base, I can just use water. And I guess I could use just powder here and do another layer of like dirt to catch it, and then I have to come back in afterwards and tear it apart. But I mean, that's a whole other step. And this is going to be so large. I haven't done the math to figure out how much it's going to take, but I just bought, I just bought 8 stacks of white concrete, and I don't think that's even enough to start the first layer of this. Yeah, this is going to be a lot. So I'm going to have to think of how to do concrete. I don't know if I wanted, like, I know Stoic has the gas farm version of it that you can AFK at, but I think I'm going to just go manual, and I'll do the soul sand version, maybe a haste beacon. So maybe I should then target doing the haste beacon first, which means to get more skulls and to fight another wither. And so maybe then I'll do a wither cage, just to make it easy for anybody that wants to go get one without having to do the fight. I'll have to go search the end and just mushroom up an end gateway. Shouldn't be that big a deal. So this is being 8 stacks of concrete, and this is going to be an inverse pyramid, so each layer is going to be even more. Oh, yeah, I should have done some math first. This is going to be really big and really I mean, that was basically 20 diamonds just for this. I'm not going to be able to afford that. And realistically too, this flat bit could have all been done with powder. I'm going to do differently than what you would probably normally see is, normally if you see people making pyramids, they're on the XY axis, which I mean they're square to Minecraft. So you're going to see a pyramid would basically be like a beacon base, where then the next layer is up here. But what I normally do is I do the diamond shape. And then the next layer is on the inside. It doesn't let itself to be as uniform. It's harder to see it unless you're backed up. Anyways, that being said, where my base is 25, the leading edges are going to be 25 on all planes. So not only this is the top half, but the bottom half will be that too. And then these long sides are going to be like 200 blocks, because the top of this is going to be basically build height. So this is going to give me a lot of work to do. If I don't have the concrete, or if I can't get the bottom half, I'm just going to have to soldier on and get to the top half, because the top half I can do with just powder. So as long as I can get my math right and I don't have to redo stuff 100 times, I'll do the bottom as much as I can, but I might have to skip the bottom. So then what's going to happen is, once this is up, the space in between is where my base is going to be, which is going to be a whole bunch of floating islands. And I'm going to theme them, I guess, between different rock types. And what I mean by that is, so like maybe I'll have an end island made of endstone, and then another island made of netherrack, and then a stone island, that sort of deal. And then on those little islands I can have different resources that I need, like a bamboo farm or sugarcane farm, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm not going to have a whole video of me just placing skulk, but this will be kind of in the background, I think, for the next couple of weeks, where I will probably maintain most of my video to be like the boat race, and then I think I have an idea for another shop, and I've got some more resource gathering. Just after the update, I stopped by my stand shop and noticed that all of the, I think I'd say 13 or 14 shulkers of sand is all sold. So I do have money to spend to buy concrete, and that's probably where most of the money will ever go that I get from now on, is just buying white concrete. The only thing I'm not really looking forward to is I don't have the design planned as how I want to decorate the outside of it. And it's not going to be that big of a problem on the top half of the pyramid, but on the bottom half of the pyramid it's going to be a real hassle, because I'll have to like scaffold up on an angle or backfill with dirt or something to build off of, which is going to be like, I might not ever decorate the bottom half. But you'll see, like, I'm going to have to come up and decorate 100 blocks up in the sky from here. I don't know. So yeah, it doesn't look like much for now, but picture this as being the leading edge all the way out to level 200 on that, on all four of the angles, and then the walls filling in on the diagonals. Should be a pretty large structure. And a couple of hours later, and you'll notice I'm up at level 303, which is the top of what I'm currently doing, and it's a little far up. So let's take a little look out here, and you can see kind of the cross section of what I'm working on. So this will be the outside edge of the pyramid, and you have to picture that it's coming in another dimension. So it'll be coming out towards me here as well. And then the space in the center is where some floating islands are going to be. And the floating islands, like I said, are going to host things like villagers and all my different farms. So it's to be a way of decorating. Now, spots like this, where it's going to be the edge of the seams, will be the entrance for getting in and out. So this will leave about a 25 by 25 square at the seam of each of the corners. So there's a 25 by 25 at the top, there's a 25 by 25 at the bottom, and then on each of the four corners. And so this will be the entrance, and I think just out here there will be towers at the four corners, basically holding the pyramid up in the sky. So yeah, it's got a large scope, a large scale to it. It's been kind of fun. It's been tedious, but it gives me a reason to watch a movie or listen to a podcast or listen to an audiobook. So I can play some blocks while I do that, and it can be pretty mindless because it's it's just repetitive. But the only thing I was worried about from doing this in my head is that it may not render completely from top to bottom. But I think like the islands are going to be up about halfway anyways, so you'll be able to see the whole thing from the inside. So the idea then will be that there'll be like a void in the overworld. So for next week, hopefully I'll get like the where are we here? So that's north. So we'll get the east-west corners done. And with that done, it'll give me a better idea of the internal space, and I can start mapping out the islands. So I can get my interior done even before the exterior is done, because everything from here up to the halfway point is going to have to be hardened concrete. But from there up can all be the sand version, so the dry version. So I can do that all by myself just by crafting. But I'm going to try to buy all of the bottom half of white concrete from the stores. Now this alone took 8 stacks just to do this 25. So yeah, there's a lot to it. But that's it for now. Let's go to some tips and tricks. So on today's tips and tricks, I want to talk about wrestling around animals into farms. So in this example, I've just got a quick little sheep farm. So basically, the sheep eats the grass. The observer does, sees the grass change, and it shears the sheep. But the problem in making any of these farms is when you try to get a sheep into one of these farms, you got to try to pull them up here, and then you try to hold some wheat in your hand, and then he comes up, and then he falls off, and then sometimes he comes in and sometimes he won't, and then the mob is as big as the spot, so it's very hard to get him in. There's different ways with water and whatnot, but the point is that it's hard to manipulate a full-sized animal into the little space. So my trick is, let's get this lead off of him. Let's make a baby. If you then try to put the baby into the hole, I know child labor and all, it's much easier to get the baby into the hole. Sometimes it's better if you give yourself a bit more of a space to work with. But yeah, generally it's much easier to manipulate a small thing into the space. And then you just have to wait for them to grow up. So yeah, what I generally do is try to use the children, the babies, to get into farms to make it simpler. And then you can grow them up if you had to and keep breeding them. So yeah, now that I'm holding wheat, everybody wants to be my friend. So yeah, it's a simple one. Make a baby to make a farm. You'll find you'll a lot less headaches to get a small baby into a 1x1 hole versus the full-size adult. Well, let's just go down here with them. So have a good day, and we'll see you next week.